For this shot, we are doing a collection of body butters. Some are gonna have their lids on and some are gonna have some textures showing. So this is gonna be really fun, so buckle up. The first thing I like to do is not jump straight into making the textures, but it's more so just getting the products in the right positions. I know a couple of them, I'm gonna have the lids off. I don't know exactly which ones yet. I have an idea of the ones that I'd like, so that's why I'm gonna go ahead and style this first. And then after styling, I'll remove the lids of the ones I want, and I won't make the textures pretty yet. I'm just going to get the outline, and then once I'm for sure that that's the one I want the texture swirl on, then I'm gonna go through and remove it from the scene, create the texture, and pop it back in. So now I'm just getting started by using my microfiber. This is the same kind of cloth they use to polish jewelry, and it does a really good job getting fingerprints and smudges off of things. These bottles are a little finicky because they have this matte glass finish, so if you have any residue on your hands or even just your natural hand oil touching these, they show spots very easily. So gotta use a little bit of force here to get them nice and polished. So right now I only have one light on, and as you can see, these front two labels look great, but the rest in the back don't look so good. So to get more light onto those back labels, I'm going to have to raise this and maybe tilt it over the scene a bit more. And because we're on a tripod, I can also lower the shutter speed to allow more light into the camera. That way we get a really nice clear shot of the labels. And once the labels look good, then I'm gonna pop that other light back on and see if that needs any work. So I'm loving the direction of the shot, but I want it to be a bit more rich, a bit more full. So I'm gonna have the products kind of overlap each other just a bit more because I feel like they're a little bit too spaced out. So now I've got the two jars that we're going to do texture shots with, and I have extra butter on the back side so I can fill this up. This is an art spatula, so I'm going to start by filling up the jar with extra butter. That way it sticks out of the top. This gives us that really nice full look that we're going for, and I'm just trying to make sure I get it in all the corners. And then I want to make sure that it sticks out just a little bit. So I'm going to start by smoothing it out, and you're going to see that I'm trying to form this natural bump at the top. And then I go around and just smooth it out. The biggest thing is that I want a nice smooth surface to start with, like this. Wipe the extra off. Then I'm going to take my spatula and I'm just going to swoop it in a circle and kind of lift up as I'm doing that. So I'm going to start here, lightly press in, and then just twist it at the top. Then take my finger, round out those edges, and we're left with a beautiful swirl. Wipe it. And then once again, you could take your finger. I have it tilted at an angle. That way it swoops the product into the jar. Just like that. So I've now popped the first texture back into frame, but there's a problem here. You can't really see the texture, and that's simply due to the positioning of the light. The light kind of needs to be behind the big peaks. That way it creates shadows, because shadows is how you get that depth and dimension and that detail. So since I swirled it the direction that I did, I'm going to just move this light to the opposite side and get rid of this bounce board for a minute. All of a sudden, the texture is popping. So I now have all the products positioned how I want them, and for this guy I needed the lid to sit in a specific way so that I could see the little peak on that texture. So I used my acrylic blocks and some sticky tack to hold it in a really nice position. Now I need to add a bounce board in the back so I can do a nice gradient effect on these beautiful lids right here. So in just a moment, I'm going to flip you guys around so you can see what I'm doing, but I'm going to be putting this here and holding it at an angle so that way I can get a really nice gradient effect on these lids here. And then I'm going to use a clamp to hold it in this spot. So you now have a clear shot of what I'm doing. As you see, this lid here is pretty ugly, but the rest look pretty nice. So when I pop this whiteboard here, I'm going to slide it until it covers the green lid completely. And then you can see that whether I bring it forward or backwards, it actually changes how the reflection is. I think this right here is the sweet spot that I like. Now, the next thing that I need to do is fix these dark spots in the scene. There's some up here too. And to do that, I'm going to take a whiteboard and hold it on the bottom side. And you can see that it fills in that white shadow just from holding it here. So we have our next shot set up and I used the same exact lighting from the previous one. The only difference is that I've changed the background out for a gray color. And I forgot to mention, I added this acrylic sheet to the last shot because I liked the way it slightly reflected the labels. It gave it more of a premium look. And to add to the premium look in this shot, I'm going to be adding some glass to see if we can get some nice shadow effects in here because I think that could be really, really nice. And then I might even drop this light so we can make this effect more dramatic. Oh yeah, just like that. Let me get this focused. I might adjust this front light here and then snap our first shot and go from there. So I've gone outside, smashed some coconuts. Now it's time to style these in the scene. So this is the styling I ended up going with, and I'm going to add a whiteboard probably right here to help with that reflection. And then I'm gonna hold this flower kind of in the frame in the foreground to just give this a bit more depth and interest. Glass cups and a glass bathroom shelf tilted at an angle so that way we have this really nice pattern across the screen. Instead of being straight on, it kind of gives it a bit more dimension, a bit more play, and I think it captures your eye. And that the lighting is pretty identical. That's because this is the artistic style that I have found that I love, and it's the style that my clients love and that they request. This is why building a portfolio that attracts dream clients is so important, because you get to continuously do the same kind of stuff that you love, but the fun part is getting to test out different angles, nice reflection, and we can see straight. So we are using 3 different lights for this one mirrored shot. We have our light in the front that has a sheet of diffuser on it because I don't want this to be too harsh. We have glass products, so I'm just trying to get the labels lit without casting too many unnecessary reflections on the actual bottles themselves. Then we have the key light back here, which also has a sheet of diffuser paper on it because otherwise it was just too harsh, and I liked the way that we have this soft light shine right here, almost similar to the sun. I want this photo to be very golden because they are both tropical fruity scents, so I'm trying to bring that islandy vibe in this scene. And lastly, we have our light on the backdrop, just doing the typical backdrop glow. I did have a different modifier, but I personally just love the way that this light strip looks in photos, so that's how I decided to keep it. And then I added a whiteboard here to bounce light back in the backside of the products, and that's actually giving it more glow on this underside here, which adding more light on the back of the product, as I always say, is separating it from the backdrop and just helping it really pop and again get that golden glow shine. Now let's prepare some of the fruit that we're going to be adding into the shot. So I have 3 fruits for this. We have grapes, grapefruit and oranges, although these are actually blood oranges, so I might use this instead of the grapefruit, depending on what the grapefruit looks like when I cut it open. To start, we have grapes. Instead of cutting off individual grapes, I'm actually going to take a whole stem of grapes here, because I just tend to like the way this looks in the photos. It looks more organic and really cute, a little cute thing of grapes. Now we're going to cut open the grapefruit. Oh, that is beautiful. Yum. Cool. Take that seed out. Definitely gonna end up using that side. That's delicious. Lastly, we have the orange, which for this, I'm just gonna try to get some orange wedges. As you can see, beautiful blood orange there. And there we go, a nice orange wedge. And we have the orange down. So I'm gonna bring these over to the scene and we're gonna start adding these into the shot. So I'm personally most excited about the grapes, so I'll add those back here first. Put a few there. Let me definitely drop my camera settings a bit here. I'll just bump up the shutter speed to get it a little darker. There we go. Beautiful slice of grapefruit. There we go. Lean the grapefruit on the orange. Maybe here. And then I do see I have a gap here that I want to add some stuff into. Or I actually may do some oil droplets there. I think that could look pretty cool. So for the oil drops, I'm gonna use glycerin. This is an old the Ordinary skincare bottle, and I love their droppers. So I actually just turned it into my personal glycerin bottle. And because the background's gold, the texture is gonna look golden, just like the bottle.